Hi, I'm Daniel, I'm a sleep physician, and if you have insomnia, this channel is for you. This is Insomnia Insight 232, in which we will learn that to sleep well indefinitely, you will have to emotionally detach yourself from the outcome of night-to-night sleep. This may sound counterintuitive, even crazy, but in this episode, we'll explore why this is so important. Hey there, hope you're doing excellent today. It is Friday, we are in August. I can't actually remember the date, we're kind of middle August here, and I want to share, before we get into this episode, which I think is going to be a really important one, I just want to share a little bit of the backstory of how this particular episode came to be. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I think it was yesterday. Me and my wife were driving out. We got to have brunch with family members, and she made me listen to this podcast. In fact, this podcast was about sales, and it was really interesting because basically, as soon as this lady that hosted the podcast started talking, I immediately started thinking about insomnia. So she started her podcast episode with talking about like the classic mistake she saw, and she said like, but clearly the most common mistake I see people do when they're trying to sell something is desperation, really wanting to make that sale, trying to convert. And because she says like people can smell that and that really turns them away. So classic example, like used car dealership or something like that. As soon as you walk on the lot, somebody out there like, and you sense that they so desperately want you to buy, like you turn off from that. Another example she mentioned, and she said like, let me give another example, and I'm gonna go to dating. And as soon as she said dating, I was like, I know where this is going. And I was like, she's gonna talk about how somebody who really wants that other person is kind of gonna choke it, and like the other person's gonna be kind of turned off or like hesitant, etc. And like in the way she used it was, she said, if you have, like, it was kind of entrepreneurial podcast, if you have a product that you want to sell, you have to detach yourself from the outcome, and that just struck me. Detach yourself from the outcome. You have to basically not care so much whether you sell at this point in time or not, and so what does this got to do with sleep? But actually, there's so much we can learn here from sleep. Meaning, as I talk about all the time here, the way I word it is like this: like, the more sleep is one of those things. Like, the more you want it, the harder it becomes to get it. If you're like really wanting it, you're praying for sleep, you're hoping you're gonna get sleep, then your mind goes to that place of like, kind of preoccupation, worrying, kind of anxiety, stress, build up, tension, which makes it impossible to sleep. Now, on the other hand, many people experience that those instances where you don't even want to sleep, when you're trying to stay awake during the day, when you're driving or when you're watching TV, etc., you may actually, the opposite might happen. And it's exactly because of that, because when you're not wanting to sleep, when you're not trying to sleep, that tension, that build up, that pressure isn't there. So to take this further, the whole thing about like detachment, what I really thought about when I heard this was, there's, you should of course want to sleep well, on a long-term, like perpetual, basis. That's where you want to go, of course. But to do that, you have to detach yourself emotionally from the outcome of night to night. Meaning, if you're really like, if tonight, if you feel like almost desperately wanting to sleep at least such and such so many hours tonight, that is going to make it impossible. And then you're just going to get stuck in this loop of every night, this night, tonight, yesterday I didn't sleep well, I have to sleep well tonight. That is going to keep you from sleeping well. If you can detach yourself from the outcome of night-to-night sleep, meaning, I want to sleep well overall, globally, going forward for the rest of my life. But if I sleep well or not tonight, it doesn't matter so much. That doesn't matter. It's the long term that matters. If you can do that, you will start sleeping better, and you will get to a point where you don't, like, you don't worry about sleep. You're not thinking about sleep. You're not preoccupied, and you're just going to sleep well indefinitely. Not well. You'll still have poor nights. Everybody does, but kind of globally, big picture, yeah, you would get there. You will get there. I hope this was helpful, and I want to thank Sophia, Carlos for sending emails. I'm gonna reply to you next week. And with that said, much more to come next week. Overall, I'm reading this new book that I want a lot to share from, and anybody has comments, that's great. Please leave comments, and also feel free to email me, Daniel at insomniainsight.co. And with that said, I will wish you a good weekend, and I'll be here next week. Take it easy.